road to redemption for the U.S. Olympic team resumes in Macau, China, where the red, white, and blue will be looking to build on their 55-point win over Canada. In a country where 300 million play basketball, 12 Americans and that man, LeBron James, are charged with establishing a new world order. And we welcome you to the sparkling Cotai Arena at the Venetian in Macau, where the pre-Olympic tour continues for USA basketball against Turkey, a non-Olympic qualifier but a national team in transition and looking for big things here in Macau. And hello again, basketball fans. Rick Campbell, the coach, Fran Fraschilla on the call for ESPN2. And let's look back to Friday's demolition job against Canada.
Well, 66% shooting, Rick. That keyed USA's great run. Also good pressure defense as well. But Mike Krzyzewski will find some things to work on as they get ready for game 2 of this exhibition tour.
Michael Redd not pictured. He was sensational. 6 of 8 from three-point range in that game. And Fran, time for yours. Chevy keys to the game.
Well, defensive cohesiveness, as good as they were on Friday night, there are a lot of things to work on before they get to Beijing. Also, half-court execution, Rick, because they were so good in transition, and rebounding, a potential Achilles heel, because there is a lack of size with this Team USA.
State Farm starting lineups look a little bit something like this. For the United States of America, D.Wade started against Canada. He'll come off the bench in this game as the 6th man because LeBron James is where he belongs as the 3 on this team. The backcourt is Kidd and Bryant. Up front, Melo and Howard. 5 future Hall of Famers for the United States. For Turkey, they've got Kerem Tunçeri and Kerem Gönlüm. They're a couple of veterans of this national team, and 3 young guys, Akyol, Ilyasova, and Erden, who was just drafted by the Boston Celtics, 60th overall. And this is a national team in transition, no doubt about that. But before we get into that, we want to talk about the differences rule-wise between FIBA and the NBA.
Well, FIBA, much like a combination of college basketball and the NBA, 10-minute quarters, a shorter three-point line, only 5 team fouls, and believe it or not, Rick, a slightly smaller court. And remember, you can play with that ball on the rim, bat it off if you wish, dunk it. A little bit of an adjustment, I think, for Team USA in the past, something that's becoming more and more natural to them.
Teammates for the United States, Carlos Boozer and Darren Williams, as we take a look at the head coach, Mike Krzyzewski of the United States. Their teammate with the Jazz and former member of the Turkish national team, Mehmet Okur, he is not here. Hedo Turkoglu is here. And he will not play, however. We'll get into his story in a little bit. And look at the numbers, just masterful for Coach K.
Coach K's greatest strength is his ability to manage outstanding talent. He's a people person. He's done a terrific job with this group so far of meshing them off the court, and now it becomes important to continue to mesh on the court.
Coach K said he wants to get better defensively, and he wants to get to know each other better offensively. Those were the tasks heading here into game 2 of this 5-game pre-Olympic tour for the United States. And LeBron James turned his ankle stepping on Kevin Durant's ankle in practice about a week ago. Obviously didn't play against Canada, but he said he's healthy, and Coach K promised to work him hard because LeBron loves to work hard.
Well, he definitely does. You're looking at a guy that's 6'8", about 260 pounds, 5% body fat, so he could have played Friday night, but there was obviously no need to risk any potential injury.
And we are underway in China. And that ball snatched off the rim right off the first shot from LeBron James. A look at the FIBA rule in effect, and LeBron James in full effect. He goes in and scores.
Well, LeBron James, you talk about Jason Kidd being the playmaker, but remember, he led Team USA in assists last year in the Tournament of Americas, a very versatile performer for this particular USA club.
There's Arsen Ilyasova, property of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Now playing in Barcelona in the Spanish ACB League.
Erden had it for a moment. K.Bryant takes it away for the United States. They had 25 forced 25 turnovers from Canada. And there is Carmelo Anthony hitting from the left wing. That's a 3-5-zip USA.
Well, one thing we've talked about with Carmelo Anthony, maybe the most complete international player on Team USA because of his versatility, the strength to go inside off the dribble, the outstanding outside shooting.
Ilyasova to Airden on the move, and it's rejected by D.Howard. Saved. Who's it off? It's going to stay right here. Was off of Carmelo Anthony, but D.Howard getting up high and fighting the power.
Well, and he's going to get tested tonight because Turkey has 6 players in that 6'10" range. Good size, but it's a young group, particularly inside. Airden, as you mentioned earlier, a property of the Boston Celtics.
Kerem Tunçeri with a strong drive to the hoop. He draws the foul. He's a 29-year-old point guard born in Istanbul. Foul on Carmelo Anthony. And Tunçeri was not with the Turks in 06 or 07, which is a bit mysterious, but has been a member of this national team off and on since 1999.
Well, their coach, Bojan Tanjevic, is one of the premier coaches in Europe, but he's old school and really doesn't put up with guys that don't. In the past, I think some of the top players wanted to come late to training camp, things of that nature. That was obviously an issue with Okur and Turkoglu in 2006. But I think because of the World Championships being held in Turkey in 2010, a lot of these top players are going to be on board.
More homers in each of his 5 full big league seasons, 22 this season. That's 2 more than Manny has this year. However, LA has just 74 as a team, so they'll use the help. Eric Karabell with the fantasy impact of these moves.
In the fantasy baseball world, it's about winners and losers. And Manny Ramirez is really neither. He's going to hit in L.A., no problems there. But Andre Ethier and Juan Pierre,
The 20th.
to sit now. Nick Swisher is going to move to first base. And really, I don't even like Griffin.
They did. Team USA, as we mentioned, has to really become solid in the half court defense in Beijing.
Airden backed off of LeBron James. That is never a good idea. LeBron canned it right in his face. Here's a turnover. Kobe back for USA. Nothing there, though. Good recognition by Turkey.
Well, it's interesting when you play Team USA, you almost want to give James and Kidd the long outside look because of the propensity of Anthony and Bryant to be able to knock those shots down.
Foul on Tunçeri. K.Bryant will head to the free throw line for a pair. 2-time scoring champ and the reigning MVP in the NBA, showing you that fadeaway Jay. Tunçeri wasn't buying it, but got him on the elbow.
Well, he did, and it's interesting because you'll see at times Team USA go to the isolation game, but that's not as prevalent in international play because of the rules. You'll see some. I don't know if Turkey will do this in this particular game, Rick, but you'll definitely see some zone defense once they get to Beijing and get into group play.
Kobe, the second oldest member of this U.S. Olympic team. He's 29, Kidd 35. And Kobe gives the U.S. a 10-5 lead, and they extend the pressure.
Now, this is a good example right here. I think one thing you want to do is you want to create a fast up-tempo game if you're Team USA and cause Turkey to do what they did just there, shoot it quick, and that allows Jason Kidd to get out in transition.
Kidd to Kobe to Carmelo, left wing, and he hits another one. 2 threes for Carmelo. U.S. up 13-5.
Now remember, last year in the tournament of the Americas, Team USA shot 47% behind the arc, and in large part because of what Carmelo Anthony can do from the perimeter.
And he shot 58% from downtown at the tournament of the Americas. LeBron James, 62% from three-point range in that tournament. And there is Coach Tanjevic.
One of the legends of European coaching. In fact, he was the national coach of Yugoslavia back in the early 80s when he was a young coach. Very respected.
Oh, what a block by LeBron, but contact, and the foul is called. Sami Airden will head to the free throw line, and a up-close look at him. Another look at LeBron trying to reach Jay.
Well, you see Airden going strong here, and you will see now that if there is one Achilles heel we mentioned about Team USA, not the depth up front, particularly when you talk about Bosh and Boozer and Howard. Remember, 5 team fouls, an ankle sprain, something like that, and that could cause Team USA some difficulty once they get into Olympic play.
Sami Erden, 1 year left on his contract with Fenerbahce, and a decision coming up whether or not to come over, whether they let him out. And fighting underneath for that rebound was Arsen Ilyasova. Credit the bucket. You can take it off the top of the rim, but what you can't do is knock it through the basket.
That's exactly right.
United States on top, 13-8. Just under 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. K.Bryant just off with that jumper. Ilyasova pulls it down. He was drafted 36th overall by Milwaukee back in 2005.
Ilyasova at one time was one of the prominent young players in Europe before an injury which set him back and hurt his development as a player. It really never was a factor with the Bucks.
Gonloom with the kick and Akyol with the miss, but a foul is called on the U.S.
One thing you'll see in international basketball, you mentioned the kick, the drive, suck the defense in and kick it out for the 3. And as we talked about on Friday night, Rick, as you look at this Team USA roster, and actually this Team USA roster is built for international play, because while they don't have the great depth inside, the international game is played from the perimeter in. And by that I mean there's a lot of driving from the perimeter and kicking out for the 3. And so the versatility of guys like James and Bryant and Tayshaun Prince to defend the perimeter, I think is going to be very important in Olympic play. Also, the strength of our guards now, when you talk about Darren Williams and Jason Kidd at the point guard spot, obviously the change of pace of Chris Paul as well, but a very physical game internationally compared to the NBA.
Bosh checked into the game. Erden over his back. No foul call, just out of bounds off of the Big Turk.
You know, we mentioned on Friday night, while hand checking is not necessarily, there's a nice inbounds play underneath. Great look. Cleared out the backside in the lob.
U.S. up 15-11. Turkey hanging tough, not unlike what Canada did on Friday in Vegas. They were within 6 at the end of the first quarter, and a nice teardrop from Cenk Akyol, and he was drafted 59th overall by Atlanta back in 2005.
Well, this is what we talked about, the team cohesiveness, and that's important right there. Jason Kidd knocking down a shot. Remember, he only averaged 1 shot a game in the Tournament of the Americas, but the defensive cohesiveness we talked about at the start of the game, I think, is something that is certainly a work in progress for Team USA. The previous possession, K.Bryant expected pick and roll defense, and the drive down the lane was there was no help.
Cenk Akyol with the foul right there. And Team USA's road to Beijing continues on Friday, August 1st, as the red, white, and blue take on Lithuania at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. That ought to be a good one. Lithuania, a factor upcoming in these Olympics. Then on Sunday, August 3rd, Team USA will face Russia. Sunday's game starts at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, live on ESPN2. And Russia, of course, the defending Eurobasket champs. They got a buzzer beater from J.R. Holden to beat Spain in that country. Bosh underneath. He puts it in. The feed from K.Bryant.
The MVP of that Eurobasket championship was Andrei Kirilenko, a teammate of the Utah Jazz's Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer, 2 members of this Team USA.
Kirilenko will carry the flag for Russia in the opening ceremony of the Olympics. And crashing to the floor is Önder Arslan. He's checked into the game for Turkey, 25-year-old veteran of this national team. And we step aside, 4:59 to go in the first quarter. Turkey hanging tough with the United States, but hang in there. The U.S. has something in store for the folks in Macau.
You know, it's not all fun and games when you're a mascot. Every year I find myself where the season always ends meets the bills never stop. You know that place where you realize even a squirrel can't live off peanuts? Well, maybe you don't, but believe me, I'm there.
Here's a way to score on savings.
Nice.
Switch your car insurance to State Farm. You'll save big, plus get a payment plan that fits your budget. Call, click, or visit and start saving today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You know I wear this everywhere.
532, 533, 530.
Crazy times call for crazy fun. Enter the Ultimate Vegas Escape Sweepstakes at visitlasvegas.com.
ESPN's presentation of USA Basketball, brought to you by State Farm, where great coverage meets great rates. And Gatorade, it's in USA Basketball. Is it in you?
Welcome back to the Cotai Arena at the Venetian in Macau. The United States 20, Turkey 15. Rick Hamla, Fran Fraschilla on the call for ESPN2. And let's talk a little bit about Hedo Turkoglu. We saw him before the game high-fiving D.Howard, saying hi to his good friend with the Orlando Magic. And Hedo will not play here today, but Turkey has a big tournament coming up in September. And the thought is that the presumption is that he will play for them in that tournament.
Well, he will, and he's coming off an outstanding year in the NBA, as you know, Rick. The NBA's most improved player, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. And right now, what Coach Tanjevic is doing with this Turkish club is he's getting them ready for the Euro Championships in '09 in Poland, and also the very prestigious World Championships, which will be held in Turkey in 2010. And Hedo wants to be a part of that.
Very good showing for Turkey at the 2006 World Championship, which was, of course, considered a disaster by many for the United States. Turkey finished 6th with a sort of an evolving lineup. A lot of their veteran guys, they sent them home for that one, and a beautiful dime from LeBron James to C.Bosh, who hammers it down.
Boy, excellent pick and roll right there, and Bosh's agility to be able to get in the lane and catch that bullet pass from LeBron.
LeBron chasing them down, and Gonlum couldn't come up with that rebound. LeBron could. Kobe to LeBron. Oh, and it's broken up high. Nice defense by Turkey, and back they come. Here's Arslan. Nice pass. Gonlum puts it in hard off the window, but it goes down for Turkey, and they're within 5.
It's a good example of what we talked about. International play, the drive into the lane and the kick out, and D.Wade, who has been very aggressive in training camp and also in the game we saw Friday night, that time a little over aggressive getting into the lane, but very scrappy team so far. You see Ilyasova with good position, takes the charge, and you know what we've seen so far in the early parts of the Canada game and also early here is Team USA's needs to continue to work on that defensive effort, particularly in the half court.
D.Wade, 20 points on 7 of 10 in his return from the injury. Spent about 4 months on the shelf, knocked out of bounds by Kobe, still 16 on the shot clock for Turkey. And D.Wade on his bald head, if you're just tuning in, if you missed the Canada game, you may be saying, what's up? Wade's bald. Well, he said, I've gone bald for the simple fact that I'm focused solely on basketball. I'm not concerning myself with trying to look pretty. I'm really focused on playing and bringing home the gold. And D.Wade is focused, and he's playing angry, Fran.
Well, and he's a 6th man, which is a great luxury for Coach K. That talks about a guy that was an MVP of the NBA Finals just 2 years ago, accepting that role as many of these Team USA players have.
Ilyasova, a series of moves on D.Howard, throws it up, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Got the lucky bounce, but what Coach Tanjevic has done early is they are attempting to pound the ball into the lane with Erden and that time Ilyasova, and a strategy, I think, to be able to try to get that ball inside and maybe get Team USA in foul trouble.
D.Wade with a sexy move to the hoop, and then he lands hard, collided with the Turkish player, and he's not shaken up, not grimacing at all. And it's interesting to note as we take another look at D.Wade cruising baseline that Chris Paul and Darren Williams came into the game at the same time against Canada and played a lot together. And here they did not come in together at the same time. And now we do see Williams and Paul on the court together.
Well, and I think that what Coach K, I don't think he's ready to make a decision on who the backup point guard is. And I think psychologically as a coach, as this is still really training camp for them, both players not only played well together, but you know, if you put one guy in first, and you're almost, you know, subconsciously saying, well, he's my backup. There's another example of good execution by Turkey in the half court, and Team USA giving up another open shot. This is not a great Turkey team right now, and so far they've played very well.
Paul kicked it out to Wade. Couldn't hit that shot. And look at Turkey hanging within 2 here. 2:25 to go in the first quarter.
Well, and the one thing we've pointed out, and you see again, they try to attack the paint inside.
And a foul is called on Big Dwight underneath. That was C.Bosh spinning and whirling and drawing the foul.
And this is a 21-year-old, born in 1987. Turkey has a very good group of young players. You know, in Europe, Rick, they call it generations. Right now, Spain is going through a terrific generation of older players. But Turkey right now, guys like C.Bosh and Ilyasova and Akyol, this is the future of Turkish basketball. And interestingly, a lot of clubs around Europe right now are loaded with young players. Now, they say 31 there on our graphic, but he's actually only a 21-year-old, but very promising future. And Coach Tanjevic, again, building a Turkish national team for the next 2 to 6 years.
And they're well on their way. We mentioned the strong performance in 06 at the Worlds. Melo misses that 3. Rebound taken by Angan Atsur. Check that, Under Arslan. He's working against Chris Paul. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Melo wasn't having any of Ilyasova's fakes right there. Shot clock an issue now for Turkey, down to 5. Here is Arslan from Turkey, and it goes.
See, and you have to know that with the clock running down, you know that if he's not going to make a move to the hole, he's setting himself up for the pull-up, and he had too much room right there. This is a good example of what we continue to talk about. The world, even a team like Turkey right now, the world is catching up to Team USA. So you cannot take anybody lightly. This is a very solid performance early on.
8-0 run by Turkey. And take a look at this shot to the face. Oh, Arslan to the left side of his face from the elbow of Darren Williams, looking for the offensive foul. The foul was called on Arslan, much to the chagrin of Coach Tanjevic.
Arslan only 25 years old. Again, one of the young leaders of this group. Already an experienced player.
Ilyasova, what was that? Here's D.Wade back for the U.S. Carving and scoring. What a move by D.Wade.
Yeah, that's what we call the Euro step right there. That's a move made famous by Manu Ginobili. Looks like a travel. It's not. Just a nice side step. Good agility by D.Wade right there.
That shot was short from Onan. Wade back, splits the D again, and D.Wade, he is playing angry, and he is playing great here in Macau.
Well, and it starts with the defensive end. If you get stopped, it's going to allow you to get out in transition because of the quickness of this Team USA. And there's an offensive foul. Chris Paul, who's a feisty bugger. Omer Onan with the charge. But we talked about Team USA and the fact that right now the world has just continued to get better. Good example right there, Rick. Last 3 tournaments, obviously the disappointment in 02 in Indianapolis, 04 in Athens, and then how about they go 8-1 in the World Championships, but obviously lose the semifinal game to Greece.
D.Wade underneath and 1. And it is Carmelo Anthony. He is off to a fast start in this first quarter, and the United States has answered that run by Turkey with a run of their own. Carmelo with 10 points and counting.
Now, Carmelo Anthony has led this team in scoring the last 2 years, and again, he may be right now, when you talk about international play, maybe the best international player in the world, because he is the prototype. While he's a small forward in the NBA, he's the prototype power forward in international play, and a mismatch nightmare because of his ability to go inside and score, also play away from the basket.
7-0 run for the U.S. Carmelo has 11. The United States leads by 4. We're under a minute. Turkey still playing with puffy chests, and Onan hits from the corner, and that's a 3. Turkey within 1.
Well, there's an example of Team USA looking to trap in the half court. 3 guys trapped the ball that time, and once penetration was made into the lane, there was really nobody to cover that outside shooter. Part of that penetrate and kick game that international basketball has made so popular.
Carmelo and Wade not on the same page, and that turnover credited to Carmelo. Turkey with a chance to take the lead here, and it's Arslan doesn't get it off. So a strong performance from the United States offensively with 31 points. Defensively, Coach K bumming 30 points for Turkey in the first 10 minutes against the United States. 31-30 U.S. leads. We will return you to Macau after this brief timeout.
It was a third down. I think it was 3rd and 2. So I was not expecting a big play. Yes. No. Yes. I ended up winning that game on an 80-yard run in the final minute. Gone. It's unpredictable. It's like real sports. Sometimes he'll break the tackle, sometimes he won't. I love the fight songs, the fans, the stadiums. It sounds like such a nerd here. Do you love this game? Do you love college football? Are you ready to be beaten by me on a regular basis?
Rated E for everyone.
To all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. Big Mac. Pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Big Mac. To all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. Mac. Pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Big Mac. You so want one.
Welcome back to Macau. The pre-Olympic tour continues for USA basketball. They lead Turkey 31-30 here at the start of the second quarter. Rick Kamla and Fran Fraschilla proudly on the call for ESPN2. Carmelo Anthony, the leading scorer at the end of the first quarter with 11. What about the X Games? X Games 14 begins Thursday night. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern with X Center. Then at 9 Eastern, watch Jake Brown take on the mega ramp during Skate Big Air. Then the boys of Moto X show off their best moves during Moto X Best Trick. For more information, log on to EXPN.com.
Why do I think the X Games are right up your alley?
Am I an extreme broadcaster? Is that what gives you that idea? No, the X Games are cool. Those guys get big air, and getting big air right there was Dwight Howard. He is the reigning slam dunk champion NBA style, doing it here in Macau.
Well, they're not going to run many plays for Dwight Howard, especially because of the trapezoid lane and a lot of zone defense, a lot of packed-in defenses. But an animal on the offensive glass, that's where he'll get his work done. I'm sure one thing Coach K brought up to this team at the quarter was the 30-point explosion by the Turkish national team.
Well, they're going to be hearing that until they step on the floor against Lithuania roughly 24 hours from now. That 30-point first quarter is not what Coach K wanted. D.Wade. Dwight Howard couldn't control. And back comes Turkey. Nice dribble move by Arslan. Oh, the ball fake, and he teardrops it home. Finger roll style. What a move by Under Arslan.
Well, slick. Arslan, as we mentioned, very experienced young player. Outstanding quickness, ability to get to the lane.
Melo took it strong. You heard him grunting, and he generates a couple of free throws. That's how Carmelo rolls here in international play. Two-time All-Star, started in 2008. He's made the All-NBA team twice as well. And just 24 years old, just 5 years in the NBA, and just piling up those stats, Fran.
No, he really has. And One of those guys, the disappointment of 2004, along with Boozer and Wade and LeBron James, trying to make amends. And Carmelo, really, as we mentioned, extremely efficient offensive player.
First player recruited by managing director Jerry Colangelo for this U.S. national team that is now the Olympic team. Carmelo with 13, and the United States leads 35-32.
See, this is where a guy like Chris Paul with his quickness can be a kind of like a punt returner. There's a switch, and that's what you don't want to do. International teams are very good at reacting to switching defense, and that time the alley-oop and the comeback by Paul. But the switching on the defensive end caused a mismatch, and they got the mismatch right back on this end with the lob.
Second basket of the game for D.Howard. He was 3 for 3 from the field in a quiet game against Canada. And Fran, the bigs, C.Bosh, Carlos Boozer, and D.Howard combined in 40 minutes of action against Canada for just 16 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks.
Well, this is going to be a perimeter-oriented team. When you look at the scoring coming from James, Bryant, Wade, probably how it should be.
And the perimeter guys got it done. Kobe 15, Carmelo with 20, Dwayne Wade with 20, Michael Redd with 20, and it's tapped in by Dwayne Wade, USA by 5.
You know, there's no apprehension anymore on the part of these guys who played internationally for a couple of years now to go right back at that rim and not worry about that ball sitting on the rim.
D.Howard just stamped Gorkem. Gonloom lost it to Carmelo. Chris Paul, you're not going to stop him in the open court unless, of course, you foul him.
That's a ploy in international play. That keeps you from getting the easy transition 2 points. And there you take a look, Rick, at the rest of this tour. Lithuania, a very dangerous club, although they have some injuries. You mentioned Russia with Kirilenko, and Australia, a very feisty group with Andrew Bogut leading the way, the third-year center from the Milwaukee Bucks.
All those games on ESPN2. Note the 3 a.m. start time.
I did note
on the Russian game. Get an early wake-up call for that one.
Either a late night or an early wake-up call. We haven't decided yet.
Here's LeBron off the dribble. It's good.
Boy, was that fundamentally sound. The little jab step a la Carmelo Anthony, who's perfected that move. LeBron, you talk about the fundamental play.
LeBron with 7, and boy, is it good to see him on the court. The team was being very cautious, maybe overly cautious with him against Canada. If it were a medal round game, he would have played, but no reason to rush him back into action in a friendly against Canada. Oh, what passing. K.Bryant cashes in. LeBron James with a dazzling dime.
And Darren Williams with the hockey assist right there. Terrific in the open court.
As our good friend Tim Capstraw likes to call it, the Gretzky.
The Gretzky.
USA suddenly on top by 9. Carlos Boozer batted that one away.
And
rebound to Erden.
You can tell they've tightened up the defense a little bit, but a tricky play. Now Erden is 7 feet tall, and he put the ball on the floor to make a play, and a good dish.
K.Bryant just not going for him early. Carlos Boozer, he misses the putback.
Here's the dangerous thing right now. Anytime Team USA has been in the half court, it's been a lot of isolation and one-on-one play. That's something that's been not necessarily a cause of concern, but something that I think Coach K knows is going to take some time during this training camp in China.
These bigs for Turkey are looking pretty good. Erden, the Boston Celtics with the 60th pick. I mean, in the NFL, they call that Mr. Irrelevant. I don't think there's nothing irrelevant about this guy.
Well, remember, both he and Omer Asik, who we won't see today, who was injured, the 2 7-footers who played on the same team, they have contracts that will extend into next year. So they would have been taken higher had they not had the ball and chain, if you will, of the contract with Fenerbahce, their Turkish club.
Kid back for the U.S. K.Bryant double team.
See, now let's see.
But Boston's in a good spot to take Erden, let him spend another year in Turkey, and then if they're ready, they bring him over. They can afford that luxury.
Yes, they can. And Erden, had he been a college player, would have easily been, in my opinion, a top 20 pick. You're talking about a very experienced young guy, 22 years old. He's played a lot of professional basketball already. They're looking to go high-low. Now, they think they can exploit this. You've noticed a number of times so far in the first half, they've tried to go high-low. Another tricky defense right there.
Tuncheri up on Kidd. He's fouled by Kidd. And a couple of free throws coming up for Kerem, Tuncheri, and Turkey. They trail by 7. But they are hanging tough with LBJ and the U.S. Olympic team. LeBron, it's good to have you back, baby. We see you back in Macau in a minute.
Where can you find me? At the intersection of my new life and my new lifestyle. Driving.
Wheatgrass?
Yeah, that was it.
Change the scenery? A State Farm agent will be there to help you get the right coverage at a great price.
You know that place where there's never a rain delay? I am so there.
Call, click, or visit and start saving today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What's this? It's wheatgrass. So what do you think of my screenplay?
What if there was one offense to battle any defense? A system that would adjust to any coach's philosophy. Better Basketball has the answer. Rick Torbett's Read and React offense. Listen to NCAA champion coach Bill Self on the Read and React.
And I believe it's the future of developmental basketball.
This is one of those things that's once-in-a-lifetime thing.
This is the most groundbreaking thing in basketball since the motion offense.
To watch free previews of all the Better Basketball DVDs, call 1-800-BETTER-B or visit betterbasketball.com.
Be right back.
Okay. Greg Jennings. Nice Fantasy Hall of Fame jacket.
I know.
12 touchdowns in only your second year.
I am pretty awesome. What you need to do is find this year's Greg Jennings.
I will. Can I?
Sure.
Oh, that's soft.
Who's this year's Greg Jennings? Find out first at ESPN. The best experts, best features, best game. All for free at ESPN.com.
Welcome back to ESPN2's continuing coverage of the USA Basketball Pre-Olympic Tour with 4:43 to go in the second quarter. The U.S. leads Turkey by 7. And the United States run to Beijing continues on Friday, August 1st, as the red, white, and blue take on Lithuania at 8 a.m. Eastern. Then on Sunday, August 3rd, Team USA will face Russia. Sunday's game starts at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, live on ESPN2. D.Wade and the U.S. Olympic team looking good here in Macau. And you want proof that D.Wade gets it? Let me tell you this quote. He says, we have to show that we know this game and respect this game and know how to play this game the right way. There's a lot riding on this for the future of USA Basketball. These guys aren't here to have a good time. These guys are here bloodthirsty for victory and a gold medal, and they will leave very upset if they don't get that.
There's no question about it, and it is not a given. You see the tight defense by Turkey and the lack of cohesiveness in the half-court offense. I mean, the simple fact is the road gets tougher as they head to Beijing. When you talk about teams like Spain and Argentina right now, a lot of guys who have become NBA stars, guys like Ginobili and Gasol, and then teams like Lithuania and Greece, and to a certain degree Russia, who have very good European players who can certainly hang with America's best right now.
Tuncheri terminated the dribble, 5 on the shot clock. Here's Akyol, double team. And he just zips a pass into Ilyasova. Nothing doing on that possession offensively for Turkey.
See, right now, everything is transition for Team USA. So let's see if they can get some things done in the half court.
Michael Redd into the game for the U.S. And he draws the foul. A couple of free throws coming up from Michael Redd, and it was an adventure for him from the line against Canada. 2 of 4 from the free throw line for one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA. But as we mentioned, 6 of 8 from downtown, and he took all of his field goals from three-point range.
Well, and he mentioned, you know, before the tournament that the international line, almost 3 feet closer, is almost a touch shot for him, whereas normally the NBA 3 is what we call a leg shot. You really got to get your legs into that deep 3, and it's almost a set shot for some of these guys. who have to make that adjustment. By the way, when we were at practice this week, if you notice the FIBA ball with the different panels, that's a much slicker ball than the NBA ball, which has nice tack or grip to it. So even the adjustment to the basketball for shooters is important.
Is the ball slightly smaller, or is it the same size as an NBA ball?
It can be slightly smaller by rule.
Here we go, LeBron. Right at the defense, follows it up, and, well, 1 of 2 for 2 points. It wasn't pretty, but still a deuce for the U.S.
Got it done, but again, it's all transition right now for Team USA. Keyed off defensive turnovers, which as they play better competition as they move on to Beijing, they're going to have to be a little more proficient in the half court, but that's what Macau and Shanghai are all about for Team USA.
And a carrying violation called on Simi Erden.
Now that's a 7-foot guy handling the ball out on the perimeter. So this is a guy with a lot of talent. Rep has been in the past. Doesn't always get focused. His teammate from Fenerbahce, Omer Ashik, is considered the long-term better prospect to be at the Chicago Bulls at some point in the future. Sort of a Turkish Ben Wallace, young Ben Wallace.
The Bulls are happy to have him, and they have an excess of smalls, but not necessarily bigs. Akyol with the loose change, and defended well by Chris Paul, went up high to meet him.
Now, if you're playing devil's advocate right now, you'd say that Team USA's half-court offensive efficiency has been very poor. Not a lot of ball movement, a lot of individual play so far, and when they don't get in transition, that's obviously reared its ugly head. And it's something they've worked on this week at practice. A lot of situational stuff in practice this week for Coach K and Team USA in terms of being proficient in executing half court.
LeBron James said, "Give me that." And Ilyasova says, "There will be no highlight on my watch."
And a new rule in FIBA now, they're not going to be as lenient as they were. You see there, they call the intentional foul right away.
You're right. A couple of years ago, that would just be a foul.
That would be a foul. You see now it becomes an intentional foul. And what's happened, Rick, in 2010, FIBA will go to the rectangular NBA lane. There's been a concerted effort on the part of the NBA and FIBA to try to draw the two games more closely together. You see an example right there on the intentional foul. We call it the intentional foul in college. In the NBA, it's the breakaway foul.
Right, the clear path violation.
Clear path violation. See, here's a half-court set now. Let's see what they go to. Little pick and roll.
Kobe off the feed from LeBron. Dwight tried for it, couldn't get it. LeBron has 10. The United States on a 13-3 run to take this 11-point lead. Almost another turnover, and then a foul on Chris Paul.
See, it's been somewhat feast or famine for Team USA. The ball pressure's been very good, and they've knocked a few loose. But when they don't, and you see right there the foul by Paul, but when they don't, it's opened up the half court, the spacing for Turkey's guards to get into the lane and make plays.
You're never going to thread the needle with that pass against these Americans. Kobe to LeBron! Are you kidding me? What a dunk by LeBron.
Now, you love the highlight. What I like about that is excellent pick-and-roll defensive execution. They thought they could throw the little bounce pass. Kobe had none of that.
Trincheri can't answer, but he does get the offensive rebound. United States takes a noisy 13-point lead. Kobe and LeBron are good buddies, and they collaborated on the play of the game so far. But the United States didn't really start rocking against Canada till the third quarter. Here's LeBron. Chris Paul toeing the line. Paul tracks it down. Dwight Howard ends up with it. Oh, and he throws it down thunderously, and even his teammate Ito Turkoglu on the Turkish bench had to say, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Well, we mentioned that they're not going to run a lot of plays for Dwight Howard, but it doesn't mean he can't impose his will inside. You're looking at a guy 6'11", 260, and probably, Rick, nowhere near his peak as a player, a young player, still really developing.
D.Howard, 21-14 last year. I can't wait to see what's next.
So you better let go, and come on in. You better let go, and come on in. It's like living in a dream. It's like nothing that you've seen. So you better let go, and come on in.
Fall Fashion Week presented by L. Starts August 24th on HSN.
Come on in.
Let's talk business. Small business. You've been paying too much on your phone bill for too long, but there's a better choice. Call Comcast now and get business class voice for $19.95 a month when you get any business class internet package. $19.95 a month per line. So not only will you get reliable voice and internet that's way faster than DSL for your small business, but you save money by doing it. That's how small businesses make it big. Comcast Business Class. Turn your office on.
Welcome back to the Cotai Arena at the Venetian in Macau, China. The United States 52, Turkey 37, the U.S. on a 17-3 run. And we are in the late stages of the first half. LeBron James, he usually plays noisy, doesn't he, Coach?
He does. Had a chance to work his LeBron James Skills Academy in early July. Chris Paul was there, and he was very focused on making sure he got his workouts in preparation for Team USA's training camp. That's for sure. I tell you, he did a great job of spending time with a lot of the young high school players and kind of teaching them, I guess, how to play the game the right way. By the way, only 6 points here in the second quarter for Turkey, so a little more concerted effort on the defensive end. The quickness and the ability to get into passing lanes has been a big factor for Team USA in this quarter.
31-14, the United States was over Canada in the second quarter of that game, and it looks like it's going to be a similar total here in the second quarter against Turkey. We're under a minute to go in the first half. United States by 15. Tuncheri. They work it around to Akyol. This is the long shot. Howard pulls.
See, good. Get the last shot of the half. Also, let's see what they can do in the half court. Now, it has been mostly pick and roll. Watch how Turkey now will try to shrink the floor, and they're almost zoning up right now against the quickness of Paul. There's the pick and roll.
Here's the playmaker making a play.
Oh, well.
And with the running clock, Turkey's not going to get a shot off. So the United States turn the frown upside down in a big way. They led 31-30 at the end of one, 54-37 here at the half. Coming up at the half, Team USA reunited in Las Vegas. We look ahead to Lithuania, plus highlights and analysis. It's all next.
They're good.
Best 7 out of 12?
Cramp.
I'd love to, but I can't.
24 Hour Fitness is a proud partner of the 2008 U.S. Olympic team and of everyday athletes everywhere.
Hey, you want to come to our barbecue this weekend?
Actually, I'll be in China.
You could have just said no.
Two all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. Big Mac. Pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Big Mac. Two all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. Mac. Pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Big Mac, you so want one.
You know, it's not all fun and games when you're a mascot. Every year I find myself where the season always ends meets the bills never stop. You know that place where you realize even a squirrel can't live off peanuts? Well, maybe you don't, but believe me, I'm there.
Here's a way to score on savings.
Nice.
Switch your car insurance to State Farm. You'll save big, plus get a payment plan that fits your budget. Call, click, or visit and start saving today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You know I wear this everywhere.
I'm poolside with John Graham, MVP of the Graham Honeymoon. John, what was the key for you this week?
Wow, you know, I just really wanted to come out here and play my game, you know, get the latest info on my fantasy players, then set my roster for total domination.
Can you describe your emotion?
Excited, proud, stuffed. Both days pretty robust.
Okay, back to you guys in the studio.
Be an ESPN MVP. Manage your fantasy teams, get live game casts, exclusive commentary, and more with VCast, only from America's most entertaining network, Verizon Wireless.
The U.S. Olympic team finishes the first half on a 19-3 run. They lead 54-37 here at the break. ESPN2 has been tracking the progress of the USA senior national team during its 5-part NBA entertainment series, Road to Redemption, presented by Nike. Last summer, the team dominated the competition on its way to qualifying for the Olympics. So when the players reconvened this summer at the end of a long NBA season, spirits were high as they got ready for their ultimate challenge.
This summer, we're going to play exquisite basketball. We're going to play the best basketball that anyone has seen on this planet because we're ready to do that. You know, we have the talent to do that, but more important than that, we have the commitment to each other to do it.
Hey, buddies.
What's up, man?
Hey, buddies. Are you gonna put that pen down, dog? What's up, man?
Hey, you man. What's up, man?
You all right? Congratulations on a great year.
Thank you.
What's up? How you doing, man? I'm good. How you? I'm good.
Guys seem in a good mood.
I'm bringing 6 back. What's up, baby? What's going on? What's up,
Just days after the U.S. men's Olympic basketball team was announced, the players gather for a short stay in Las Vegas. The first step on their long journey to Beijing.
I just want to start off by saying thanks. We've accomplished a lot, but there's a lot more to do, and we need to finish the job. Come August 24th, and they're passing out gold medals to someone. We want to hear the Star-Spangled Banner. So, let's go get it.
This marks the third summer that the team has been together, and the players feel comfortable with each other right away as they approach their upcoming challenge.
Like he walked around with dumbbells all summer back here.
You got all guys that are committed to being on this team, who wanted to be on this team from the beginning, and are now realizing that you know, we come here and this is the team. This is the team that's going to go over there. This is the team that's going to, you know, put USA back on top.
Man, these uniforms got me looking like Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Look at me, dog. I ain't never looked this strong in my life.
We've bonded, and we got guys that's good character guys, and we have the right mix. You know, we have unbelievable talent, but we have the right mix of character guys, and I think that's big.
C13. C13.
What number do you normally wear?
What number you wear 2 years ago? 10. Here I go. Who got 10 on?
Eyes right here, everybody.
Let me through. Get through.
Get him, Chris. That's it. Good, Chris.
The players' camaraderie carries over to the court, where they work together to relearn Coach K's system a little over a month before the Olympics are set to begin.
We're just playing basketball, but we're given names to, drag or exchange. Like, you might have different names, so we need to have the same vocabulary by the time the Olympics come.
We was very excited to finally get back on the court with each other.
You can break off any kind of action when you see something there, okay? We're giving enough space to drive.
Today was to get reacquainted, to get the offense game, get the defense game.
So what you're doing is you're coming up, cut through to this side, and there you get the screen down, and you have an open middle. Nothing's that difficult to teach these players. It's a matter of how much time you have to put something in so they're instinctive about it. LeBron, Kobe, D.Wade, a lot of you guys are going to come off of that, especially with Tayshaun, with Carmelo, and you get spread. When you come off it, it gives you a chance to post.
These next couple weeks are going to be very key. We want to watch the films. We want to work on the offense. But when we go over to China, we haven't missed a beat. We haven't missed a step. And we're going to be ready.
Be sure to tune into ESPN2 for more Road to Redemption presented by Nike. The next episode is tonight, 7:30 Eastern, including a special look at the budding friendship between Kobe and LeBron. The series wraps up with back-to-back episodes on August 5th. Starting at 7, we're back to preview USA-Lithuania right after this.
The action guy. Who left the fridge open? The comedian.
You think you can do what I do? Take a picture of this.
The award winner.
Kirk Lazarus underwent a controversial procedure in order to play the platoon's African-American sergeant.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
This summer.
Sorry, can we cut?
What is going on here?
Oh, God!
The movie they think they're making just got real.
This feels pretty real!
Exactly.
Let's use it! Still got speed, man.
Good, again.
Yeah! Yeah, man!
I don't believe you people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Tropic Thunder.
I hate movies.
Rated R. In theaters August 13th.
Nice sweeping birch.
Nice Fantasy Hall of Fame jacket, Ryan Grant.
Thanks. I got it
because you rushed for 8 touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards in only 10 games, I know.
Impressive.
But you're not going to sneak up on anybody this year.
But someone will, and that's what you need to figure out.
That is good advice, Ryan Grant. Can we go up top?
No problem.
Give me a little down low.
Who's this year's Ryan Grant? Find out first at ESPN. The best experts, best features, best game. All for free at ESPN.com.
The AST Dew Tour is back with the biggest names in skateboarding, BMX, and freestyle motocross.
The most incredible run of BMX history right there.
Come to the Rose Quarter August 22nd through 24th for 3 days of competition, entertainment, and a concert on Friday night. Tickets available at Rose Quarter box office or ComcastTIX.com.
We got a kid who's killing himself for $20 a hit. He's stealing from his family just to stay high.
He's in trouble. I need your help.
Every one of you came to me. I pulled you out of your miserable dead-end lives. We're not listed, we don't advertise. People find us because they need us. If you think you can help, help. I'm on my way.
Time now for today's Gatorade Cooler Talk. Rick Hamler, Fran Fraschilla, just talking around the cooler. And we look back to the 2004 Athens Olympics. The U.S. men losing in the preliminaries to Lithuania and Šarūnas Jasikevičius, but they did get their revenge.
Well, they did in the bronze medal game. Jasikevičius, the former Maryland Terp, had 28 in that group play game. But USA withstood a barrage of threes, and Sean Marion brought home the bronze. But little different, I think, this time around for guys like LeBron and Carmelo.
They didn't play a whole lot on that team, and they weren't one bit happy about that. And a look at the upcoming exhibition schedule. We've got USA versus Lithuania August 1st, 8 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. August 3rd, Russia at 3 a.m. Eastern. August 5th, U.S. versus Australia at 8 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. Back with more halftime coverage in a moment.
ESPN's presentation of USA Basketball, brought to you by the Nike Hyperdunk and McDonald's.
So how you feel about Devontae now?
Devontae?
Yeah.
Damn. It's a shame. If he couldn't handle those kids, he can't handle this. Did you see how he got dunked on? That little boy broke his ankles. I can't be taking care of no man's ankles for the rest of my life. That's not my job. That's not what I do. It's a shame, but it is what it is, like I said.
Yeah, man. He's running bums off the court. How we do. When all of a sudden these three little kids came up all rocking the same black sneakers, right? We was gonna send them home barefoot and boo-hooing.
Let's go, breast milk. Let's go. Let's get
And they wasn't having that. I'm talking about preschoolers had us looking like fantastic scrubs. They running around my court like they just got out for recess, scoring from half court, dancing for my girl. And they dropping buckets on me, man. Seriously. We were still in it, though. I'm setting my teammates up for the win. And out of nowhere, this little crumb snatcher comes steal my pass, man. So I ain't gonna let this go down, so I'm gonna stuff him. I'm gonna play defense. And I get down to steal the ball, and he used me. He used me like a step. He dumped right on my neck, man. So the next day, went to the barbershop, you know, to get my fresh shape up how I do. Cracked the door, and here it comes.
What's up, stepladder? How's your neck? Yo, you still giving out piggyback? Oh, baby, I thought your game was tight.
Not as tight as those jeans.
That's your stepson? Oh, little baby.
You want to watch some cartoons while you wait?
Stepladder. Oh, you dunked on
Scram, Sam. What's up with your neck?
I ain't been back to the court or the barbershop since then. And I know she out there with somebody with a fresh cut right now, because she loves them dudes with fresh cuts. That's why I always get my fresh cut.
And you know, he ain't never got me into a hot club or nothing. But Shorty in the black, I let him take me out, buy me some shrimp or something.
If you need individual hoop healing, call us now at 877-DUNKED-ON.
This copyrighted broadcast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, otherwise distributed, or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.
At the half in Macau, China, the United States leads Turkey by 17, and it's time now for the Nike first half highlights. Well, and Fran, we're going to be seeing a real nice alley-oop in just a moment, but first, Wade splitting the defense.
Yeah, and it started off the defensive end. After a slow start by Team USA, they picked it up in the second quarter, and that really got them out in transition. And this is what you were talking about, Rick. Great chemistry between Kobe and LeBron, back and forth, and the unselfishness that will probably mark this team's success if they are to get to the gold and win it.
And the McDonald's game track looks like this from the first half. U.S. building a 17-point lead. Carmelo Anthony, the leading scorer, with 13, doing it outside and inside.
Oh, well, that's his strength, especially in international play. He gives him a zone buster, and also the strength and power to be able to overpower those smaller perimeter types on the international level.
LeBron also with 12. That was your McDonald's game track. And as we start the second half, I have a question for the coach, Fran Fraschilla. Who is the real big three on this team as LeBron James is fouled in the open court? Is it Kobe, LeBron, and Wade, you know, arguably the three best in the world? Is it LeBron, Wade, and Melo, all drafted in 2003? Or is it the only three guys who have been with this team for 06, 07, and 08? And that's LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard.
Well, not to sidestep your question, but the beauty of this team is you've got an NBA Finals MVP in Wade, who has accepted the role as a sixth man. K.Bryant, maybe the best player in the world, has told Mike Krzyzewski, I want to be your defensive stopper. We know how versatile LeBron is. We know what kind of scorer Carmelo is, and we know the power that Dwight Howard gives you inside. So the beauty of this team is everybody takes a back seat to each other and accepts their roles.
Turkey back on offense, down 19, and it's taken away by K.Bryant.
Well, that's what we talked about, defensive stopper. He relishes that role. And you always got the big fella at the end to finish with the flush.
Thus the nickname D.Howard. What a feed by Kobe. And the United States now trumping Turkey by 21. Dwight Howard with 8 points. All of the high percentage variety.
See, I like
nice move right there by C.Bosh.
And I like this if you're Turkey, because they're trying to go inside and establish something. Now remember, everything is on film. So if you're Spain, if you're Argentina, if you're Greece, backdoor cut.
Here we go again.
Oh.
Nice. Kid to Kobe to Dwight.
What's beautiful about that is that's a set play. They tried to go backdoor in the first half. That time, Kidd was on the money and set up the pass from Kobe to Howard.
Akyol. Rebound to Dwight.
It's a good test for Team USA. Well-coached team. Turkey, they try to run their sets, go inside first and the outside shot.
Akyol, who missed a moment ago, scored 7 of the first 13 for Turkey, but has not scored since. And if you're wondering a little bit about the history of Turkish international basketball, they've only qualified for the Olympics twice, back in 1936 and 1952. They did not fare well in either of those ventures, and they've only made it to the World Championships twice. And the third time will be in 2010 when they host it, and that was Arslan. Teardropping at home, bringing Turkey within 19.
One thing these Turkish guards can do, they all get a piece of the paint off the dribble.
K.Bryant with the miss. And Turkey has never won a gold medal in a major international competition. The best finish was back in 2001 when they won silver at Eurobasket.
And when you look at them, they've always been in a very tough region of the world to qualify. You talk about Europe with all the great teams.
Oh, that was going to be a deluxe give and go.
And Savas did not want to partake of that highlight video, so he commits the foul. The young big guy, only 21 years old.
They've been foiling highlights this entire game. I can think of 3 or 4 vicious dunks that they ruined via foul. LeBron fading and hitting. LeBron James in full effect in his first game back from that ankle injury.
And what you'll see is a lot of what we saw versus Team Canada. The depth of Team USA will take over more than likely. But this is just a tune-up game, and they've been tested so far in a variety of ways that the naked eye might not see. But Coach K and his staff certainly will find some things that are very much in need of being correction. You see Mike D'Antoni on the left, Jim Boeheim on the right, Nate McMillan to Jim Boeheim's right. Very experienced staff. Of course, Mike D'Antoni for many years a great player in Italy and later a coach in Italy.
Fran, we talked about this in the production meeting. I want to bring it to the air. For 2012, you should take a look at Wade and Paul. The coach of the 2012 Olympic team for the United States. Who do you think that might be?
You know, certainly you got great candidates out there. Greg Popovich comes to mind, but I think Mike D'Antoni will get serious consideration. He's a guy that relates well to players. He's part of this Olympic process already. He's probably got a comfort level on the part of Jerry Colangelo, the managing director, and we fooled around with this. Just some ideas as far as maybe the team in 2012. Kevin Martin, an outstanding shooter. Certainly Al Jefferson. Al Horford is off to a great start. Kevin Durant. And one thing that's interesting about 2012, you see a lot of familiar faces. You think back to 96 after the Dream Team. 5 guys from the Dream Team later played on that 96 team. So there is precedent for playing in more than one Olympics.
Carmelo Anthony draws the foul. And let's give a little dap to that 96 team here for a second. They call it Dream Team 2. I know anybody involved with the original Dream Team, they bristle at even the mere mention of another Dream Team. But the 96 roster went like this. Shaq, Hakeem, Barkley, Pippen, Malone, Stockton, David Robinson, Gary Payton, Grant Hill, Reggie Miller, Penny Hardaway, and Mitch Richmond.
So what you're telling me is
incredible.
We had 9 Hall of Famers. Oh, you have 10.
Well, Grant Hill's on the fence.
Yeah,
9.5 Hall of Fame.
I love Grant Hill as a player. I think the injuries, yeah. But you know what? The 1960 team, we talked about this as well. You look at Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Jerry Lucas. You know, 3 guys that 3 are the greatest 25 or 30 players to ever play in the NBA. And obviously, West and Robertson, before Michael Jordan, they were considered the 2 best guards to ever play the game in the NBA. So now I got a quiz for you. David Robinson, what does he not have in common with the rest of the 96 team?
Jake Akyol hits a 3.
He's the only player in Olympic history to do this.
I'm sorry, what does he have in common with?
What is David Robinson is the only player in Olympic men's basketball history for the United States to do this. What is it?
I'm just trying to get these Turkish names down. Okay, and he's pop quizzing me. What's going on here?
He's the only guy that has played in 3 Olympics. Of all the players that have played for the Olympic basketball team, David Robinson has played in 3. 88, 92, and 96.
And that is amazing. And just another couple of bullet points on the amazing resume that David Robinson built. D.Wade Wade had his fingers taped on his left hand. He's back into the game. Oh, some trickery with the dribble and a ridiculous dime to LeBron James.
I thought there was no doubt he was going up. He shaked and baked to go up for the J, and then he found Carmelo underneath.
The United States leads by 20. And how they got there was exhilarating. Here is Akyol. Just hit a 3, steps in on LeBron, missed that one. Rebound to Paul.
Interesting, that time they went under the screen. That's nice.
Oh, and Kobe reverses at home. The feed from LeBron James. So in the first half, it was Kobe to LeBron. Now it's LeBron to Kobe.
And as importantly for the coaching staff, 3 or 4 different pick and roll coverages so far in this game. That time they went under the screen. They gave Akyol the long shot, and that created an open court opportunity.
LeBron James and Karim Gonloom having words.
Oh, I love this.
LeBron dragged him down a little bit, and Gonloom said, why you got to do that?
See, they go in high-low, and they're trying to take advantage of the lack of size of Team USA. You see LeBron right now playing in the post defensively, and Gonloom is a veteran.
And a feisty player.
Yeah, absolutely. 31 years old, has been around international basketball a long time.
Kobe Bryant commits the foul on Omer Onan. And time for Gonloom and James to settle down. LeBron just says, hey, I'm just over here in Macau trying to warm up for a gold medal, and you're standing in my way.
Where can you find me? At the intersection of my new life and my new lifestyle. Driving.
Wheatgrass?
Yeah, that was it.
Change the scenery? A State Farm agent will be there to help you get the right coverage at a great price.
You know that place where there's never a rain delay? I am so there.
Call, click, or visit and start saving today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What's this? It's wheatgrass. So what do you think of my screenplay?
When you're the greatest golfer on earth, what's next? New Gatorade Tiger with 25% more electrolytes. It's in Tiger Woods. Is it in you?
Welcome back to Macau. The United States leads Turkey 68-46, and the X Games are coming up. X Games 14 begins Thursday night. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern with X Center. Then at 9 Eastern, watch Jake Brown take on the mega ramp during Skate Big Air. Then the boys of Moto X show off their best moves during Moto X Best Trick. For more information, log on to EXPN.com. The X Games rolling, pre-Olympic tour rolling. Major League Baseball,
a lot of trades,
is just jamming right now. The trades, 5 of the 6 races in Major League Baseball are intense. And we bring you back to Macau with Omar Onan at the line, 30 years old, and in his first foray with the Turkish national team. We told you there was turnover on this roster.
And he also, among 5 players on this roster, play for Fenerbahce, who is also coached by Coach Tanjevic. There's really 2 main clubs in Turkey, Efes Pilsen, Fenerbahce. They're like the Lakers and Celtics of the Turkish league. Galatasaray as well, another good club. So those 2 clubs particularly have the most money, so they are able to attract the best Turkish players.
Not unlike probably the Yankees and Red Sox.
Very much so. There is no salary cap in European basketball at this stage, and that's why you see Josh Childress taking the $20 million over 3 years and heading over to Olympiacos in the Greek league.
And congratulations to Josh on the big cash and on the beautiful hang in Greece that he will be enjoying here for the next 3 years. But it's worthy of note, as K.Bryant at the line, that he does have, the ability to come back to the NBA.
He does.
After each of those seasons. So if he doesn't like it over there, wants to come back over, and he's got to get a new contract with an NBA team, maybe even the Hawks, who keep his rights. But he may not be there the full 3 years, but you never know. K.Bryant nails the second. Well, and the Childress situation brings this to mind, because I know a lot of people think that, oh, this is good, just going to open up the floodgates of NBA players going overseas. And I don't see it that way, as we have a foul here at the timeline. And my question to you is this: is it an exodus, an epidemic, or an exception?
Well, it's not an exception, because you'll see more players go overseas. I think what you'll see now is a little bit more of a flow back and forth. Remember, Juan Carlos Navarro, who played for the Grizzlies this year, went back to Spain. He got a $24 million deal. But interestingly enough, 2 international players after Childress signed with the team in Greece, Andris Biedrins of the Warriors and Sasha Vujacic of the Lakers, both signed pretty lucrative deals with their NBA clubs, in part possibly because of the threat of being able to go across the water and play back in Europe. So very interesting how this ebbs and flows, particularly with the value of the dollar. And what a lot of fans don't realize, Rick, is that when you sign with a European club, the club picks up your agent's fees, it picks up your taxes, and usually there's a house and a car involved. So you make out pretty well, and you don't have to pay Uncle Sam as much as either.
It's a good gig. Oh, LeBron James hammers it home.
That's a guy that
hit the head by Paul.
He doesn't have to worry about paying Uncle Sam. Not when you're hanging out with Warren Buffett and Bill Gates like he did Friday night in Las Vegas.
LeBron with 20, and we, Fran, have a good gig just watching this guy ball.
Good to see him back on the floor after missing Friday night's game, but the guy's in incredible shape. And talking to Cavs people last week in Las Vegas, there's no question he could have played if it warranted versus Team Canada.
Look at LeBron dogging on defense, looking for that steal. He wants another jam.
See, that's feast or famine right there, because if you miss the steal, you're going to give up the easy three, and you're not going to be able to do that against Greece and Spain. But you can do that if you rebound and run.
Wade up ahead of the pack with a reverse flush.
See,
USA 76, Turkey 52.
And what you have to be concerned about if you're Team USA is you're not going to get this level of transition baskets against the top teams in Olympic play. We saw that 2 years ago at the World Championships.
Chris Paul, nifty ball handling, and here's Teardrop Falls.
Chris Paul much more ready for international play than he was in 2006 when he started 6 of 9 games. He's gotten stronger, and he's adjusted to the more physical FIBA play.
Akyol getting his shots in this game. The rebound taken by C.Bosh. 3 minutes to go in the third.
Yep, they're trying to go inside.
And LeBron says, give me that. And LeBron up ahead, and Turkey has just given up. Carmelo Anthony off the bounce pass from K.Bryant. I think I saw that in an All-Star game once.
Pretty fun. And here's what's interesting about this. Have you noticed that the center right now of this team is LeBron James? He's actually playing the 5, and Melo's playing the 4.
And LeBron wants to play the 5 because he wants another piece of Gonloom, who's the 5 for Turkey. And by the way, Gonloom has inspired LeBron James. Not that he needs it, but LeBron's been playing with just a little bit more verve since that little confrontation.
Now, he's listed as 240. I know for a fact he's about 260, and he goes 6'8", which makes him 1 inch shorter and the same weight as a guy named Karl Malone, who could do some damage down low. So that's the versatility that you talk about when you look at Team USA, the ability to have guys play 2 and 3 positions at a time. As you see Coach Tanjevic building his Turkish club for the European Championships and the World Championships in 2010.
That dude is into it.
Yes, he is.
He's into it.
I'm going to tell you, he is old school. He is an old school coach and a guy that's not going to put up with a lot. And you see that Mehmet Okur not playing for this club. Hedo Turkoglu is back, although not playing tonight, but looked nice in his uniform before the game.
Good to see him in uniform. And he'll be playing for the Turkish national team in the upcoming Eurobasket qualifiers for next summer's tournament. K.Bryant now with 9. And he will leave. Darren Williams will spell him.
There's a fine line right now between having fun out there, which obviously Team USA is enjoying themselves on highlight plays, and also maintaining your focus and also your humility a little bit. But their defense has been very aggressive since that first quarter.
That was Gorkem with the miss. Paul up ahead. D.Wade with a couple of fakes, and he draws the foul. And there is the reigning most improved player in the NBA, Hedo Turkoglu. And he was very, very proud. When they were talking about, you know, is it going to be Rudy Gay? Is it going to be Hedo Turkoglu? He wanted the award for the country of Turkey. And for them to basically have that as a source of pride. And he brought it back, and he's very proud of that award.
And very interesting, this is his first year in the NBA that he did not play with another international player on his team. And we saw in the pregame warm-ups about an hour and a half before the game how warmly he embraced D.Howard. They are very close. And, you know, we talked off air, Rick, when you look at Rashard Lewis, Howard, Turkoglu, that's a pretty good 1-2-3 in the East. And now with Mikael Pietrus joining that club, I think you feel it's a pretty dangerous club in the East.
I think they're top 5 at least, and maybe even top 3 behind Boston and Detroit, as Arsene Gorkem puts in the runner. You know, Boston got weaker losing Posey. Detroit, you know, basically has the same team, but, you know, people say, Detroit's boring. But they win 50 to 60 games every single year, and with the same cast of veterans who know how to just grind away that regular season marathon to a 50-win-plus total, you got to put them in the top 3.
Well, they also have a rising star. I watched Rodney Stuckey last week play for the USA Select team against Team USA. Very impressive young player, only going into his second year with the Pistons.
Gonloom got the offensive rebound, begging for a goaltend. Here's a look at Detroit Pistons small forward Tayshaun Prince.
Now, while Turkey has not dominated Team USA by any stretch inside, you can see that Coach Tanjevic's strategy has been to try to go into the paint with some effectiveness, but certainly Gonlum, C.Bosh, Erden not at the level of play, say, of an Oberto or a Pau or Marc Gasol inside, or even a Luis Scola.
And since you mentioned Gasol, Pau and Marc, of course, the centers for the Spanish national team, what makes that team so good?
Well, first of all, they've got great chemistry. We talk about generations, and they played together for a while. Then you add not only a terrific center in Gasol, but one of the underrated point guards in the NBA this last couple years in Jose Calderon. Rudy Fernandez will be with the Blazers. Ricky Rubio, the brilliant young 17-year-old who has a chance to be the first pick in next year's NBA draft. There's a lot of talent on that team, but it's also well coached, and they play great together.
Spain, of course, the winners of the 2006 World Championship. D-Will to CP3, and it feels good.
Well, CP3, that's a mid-range jump shot for Chris Paul, and as you mentioned on Friday night, a guy that continues to improve that outside shooting, which really complements his almost easy ability to get into the paint off the dribble.
Or at least he makes it look easy.
Yes, he sure does.
Gonlum on the move, and a knocked away. Here's D.Wade. They got a 3-on-1. Wade back to Howard. Woo-hoo-hoo!
I don't know that you can get up much higher than that, but again, speaking to the unselfishness of Team USA and also the lethal transition ability.
13 now for Dwight Howard. 87-59, USA over Turkey. Ilyasova. And missing the bunny at the end of the third was Semi Erden. But Dwight Howard, he's not missing in this game. He's bashing and bashing in Macau. United States 87-59.
I know you want to watch, but we must resist! Resist!
X Games 14 kicks off with Jake Brown's return to Big Air, followed by Moto X Best Trick. X Games 14 coverage starts tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Coming up on the next ESPN First Take, why do LaDainian Tomlinson and the Chargers think this is their year to win the Super Bowl? And why does Georgia coach Mark Ricks think his team will be top dogs in the SEC? Answers on ESPN First Take at 10 Eastern on ESPN2.
All right, girls, let's do this thing. Andale. Let's see what you got, rookie. Who are you calling rookie?
You think they're competitive when they practice. You should see them play.
You got nothing. Bring it on, Blondie.
Last shot. Feeling the pressure, Natalie?
Nope, no pressure.
Safeway brings you the best in women's golf in the Safeway Classic, August 18th through 24th at the Columbia Edgewater Country Club. Safeway, ingredients for life.
Good news, guys. The distributors are on board.
Comcast Business Class has viewable voicemail, a tool that lets your small business see and hear the glorious fruits of your labor. And with digital voice options like unlimited local and long-distance calling and fax service, your small business has the same tools as the big guys. You hear that, big guys? Or do you want us to turn it up? Comcast Business Class. Turn your office on.
Call now to get Comcast Business Class voice for $19.95 a month per line when you sign up for any internet package.
Here's a look at Dwight Howard before the game. Hey, who's that? That's my boy! The Orlando Magic in the house, and it's Hedo Turkoglu. They are good buddies. They are teammates with the Orlando Magic and having their own little party on the floor here at Cotai Arena.
Happy to see each other halfway around the world, and there's the numbers, and talked about the outstanding season Hedo Turkoglu had. Of course, Dwight Howard really rapidly becoming one of the NBA's he's going to be one of the elite big men really in the history of this league if he keeps up this pace. And you throw in Rashard Lewis and the outstanding coaching of Stan Van Gundy and his staff, and a very dangerous club coming up in the East.
Turkoglu played all 82 games. Here's Wade to Bosh, and C.Bosh will go to the free throw line.
Little pick and roll action that they ran earlier in the game, right out of the timeout. And get the agile one, C.Bosh from Dallas, Texas, on the run to the rim.
Turkoglu's been with the national team since 1999 and still going strong. He's with them now. He'll be with them, obviously, in 2010 when they host the World Championship. And if they qualify for the Olympics in 2012 in London, that is a lengthy stint with your national team.
And he's only going to be 30 years old come March. Here you see Hito nursing a minor back injury. It's why we're not seeing him on the court tonight. And he's also coming up into that last year of that contract. So be interesting to see what the Magic do.
Ilyasova flips it in. And that's sneaky.
Well,
it's all about Brand and Barron and Posey and all this stuff, but there's a situation looming on the horizon for the Orlando Magic.
Well, the dangerous part is he's had a great year, career year. If he has another career year, now he's 30 years old. Do you re-up him with the big money, or you hate to say this if you're Hito Turkoglu, but do you trade him while he's still got a lot of value?
I think you ride it out. I think you pay the guy. But as you know, friend, I love spending the money of the 30 owners in the NBA. If it were up to me, every one of these guys would be $20 million a year players. Loose ball comes out to Darren Williams.
So now if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you want to get some things done in the half court in the fourth quarter. You know the transition game is great, and you know that you can create some stuff off your defense, but can you run offense against a team that's going to make you play half-court offense? As you see the big fella from Atlanta, Southwestern Christian High School.
This is going to be a tough question for you to answer, Fran, but you've got a big basketball brain, so I'm going to ask it. Nevertheless, does anybody have more fun playing basketball than Dwight Howard?
You know what's beautiful about, remember the discussion about Emeka Okafor, Dwight Howard. Now Emeka's just gotten a big contract. Good for him. Congratulations. But you're looking at a guy that was raised great family. His uncle, a district attorney of Fulton County, quality guy, quality high school coach, and really has the whole package. And you're also talking about a guy that's just starting to scratch the surface of being just an unbelievable NBA center.
Gorkem, short, comes out to Airden. And a nice hoop from Karim Ganloom, bringing Turkey within 28. Wade, you've got to be kidding me with that one. And he just stares at the crowd.
How about that step aside? How good was that? And that's a guy that really knows how to use the bounce. Talk about slashing.
Well, that looked like a relatively benign move from Dwayne Wade, and he turned it into maybe the play of the game. He now has 12. And Dwayne Wade with statement play after statement play in these first two exhibition games for the U.S. Ganloom puts it back off the pass from Arsen Ilyasova.
And what you want to see right now from Team USA, not to lose your focus on the defensive end. Stay solid. This is still training camp in many ways.
C.Bosh finger rolled it home and had just enough to get that one over the rim, plus the foul.
How about you got 95 points right now, and you've only played 33 minutes of basketball?
Coach Tanjevic not too happy about that. United States by 31. 7:34 to go in the basketball game. Glad to have you with us on ESPN2. Rick Kamla, Fran Fraschilla. You're watching this game live from Macau, China. Ilyasova trying to make amends for that air ball.
Guess who he's just trying to score over? Ex-teammate Michael Redd.
Out of bounds.
That looked like Dwayne Wade.
It'll stay right here with Turkey. And Dwayne Wade says, didn't you see that dunk a moment ago? How do I not get that call?
Well, the one thing you've got to do, and I think Team USA has gone to school on this the last couple years, is FIBA officiating. There's going to be 3 or 4 calls in every game where you're going to scratch your head and wonder what the heck just happened, and you just got to play through that and deal with that.
Gorkem. It's rebounded by Ilyasova, and he flips it home with the right hand over a couple of tall Americans.
Ilyasova, not known for his rebounding prowess. That's the move right there.
Darren Williams from the hip. Off glass, and the lead is back to 31 for the U.S.
See, the hardest part for a coach right now is you're up 30, but you got to watch the film and say, okay, we gave up this shot, but they didn't make it. But will Navarro make that shot?
Some nice playmaking going on right here. And that was Semi Erden throwing it down.
Good example right there. Pick and roll defense, a breakdown in coverage. Erden gets the roll. So there's going to be a lot that you can watch, even in a blowout game, from a coaching staff point of view that you can correct.
Tuncheri, another play. Again, it's to Erden, who draws a couple of free throws. And coming up, the pre-Olympic tour continues for the United States Olympic team. Team USA's road to Beijing continues on Friday, August 1st, as the red, white, and blue take on Lithuania at 8 a.m. Eastern. Then Sunday, August 3rd, Team USA faces Russia. Sunday's game starts at 3 a.m. Eastern time, live on ESPN2. And Kobe right there showing you the way to Beijing. First game for the U.S. Olympic team will come against China, the host country, on August 10th. And the Olympics begin on August 8th. It's going to be a phenomenal 2 weeks of sports in general, but especially basketball for these guys right here. It is all about, as you call it, being the redeem team.
Well, and it's the best talent, in my opinion, in the history of Olympic basketball. 12 teams. You look at Group B, Team USA with Greece and Spain and Germany, the host country. China, they'll see, as you mentioned, right off the start. I think right now the best 3 teams in the world, Greece, Spain, and Team USA. Now you say Argentina, what about them? They've struggled a little bit here in the pre-Olympics, and they're also getting a little bit older, but in my mind, Group B is going to be a murderous group. But Coach K has mentioned, Rick, that he wants it that way. Rather play those tough teams, and they'll see them again in medal play.
Darren Williams got his first field goal a moment ago. That was Michael Redd's first field goal, and USA has hit triple digits here in Macau. They lead by 29.
Now, and remember this, nothing matters in group play. They take the top 4 of 6 teams in group play, and they go right to quarterfinal action. And you think back to 2004, Spain went 7-1 and finished 7th because they lost a quarterfinal game. So all that matters is the one and done.
Well, that was almost Stockton to Malone 2008 style with Williams to Boozer. And look at Boozer's college coach, Mike Krzyzewski. And they won a championship together back in 2001. And Coach K, 803 victories in his 33 years as a head coach overall.
10 Final Fours, 3 national titles, not bad.
Not a bad career. Hall of Fame back in 2001. They could have probably put him in earlier, or a little earlier than that, right?
I think based on his accomplishments, there's no question. And he's turned out so far to be, you know, the right temperament, I think, is the best way to put it for this team. You know, there was some.
You don't want to push too hard, do you?
No, I don't think you have to push these 2 guys too hard. He's got a very good coaching staff. There's no question in 2006, and we pointed this out, that they may not have been prepared for some of the things that came their way from a team like Greece. But Coach K, I think, has gone to school on that. He's got an excellent staff, as we've talked about. But even tonight, we've seen some kinks that need to keep being worked out, particularly on the defensive end. And it's hard to say that when you're up 30.
Chris Paul to C.Bosh, and it was on site. And the United States back by 30. C.Bosh now with 12. Erden. And it's Angin Atser putting it in. And he's a Turk. He was born in Istanbul, but a lot of you know him from his 4-year stint at NC State.
Solid player. Because he's gone against Chris Paul in the past.
Boozer draws the foul. And with 4:28 to go in the 4th quarter, the United States all over Turkey. This is the second of 5 tune-ups before the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing. Boozer took a hack to the head, but he'll take it. and he'll take those 2 free throws. And we'll take a break. We'll return you to ESPN2 in just a second.
Best 7 out of 12?
Cramp.
I'd love to, but I can't.
24 Hour Fitness is a proud partner of the 2008 U.S. Olympic team and of everyday athletes everywhere.
Hey, you want to come to our barbecue this weekend?
Actually, I'll be in China.
You could have just said no.
Welcome back to Macau, China. We have this reminder for you. X Games 14 begins Thursday night. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern with X Center. Then at 9 Eastern, watch Jake Brown take on the mega ramp during Skate Big Air. Then the boys of Moto X show off their best moves during Moto X Best Trick. For more information, log on to EXPN.com. Friend, I don't know about you, but I'm stoked for the X Games.
You're going to be sitting out, even though we're going to be up early again tomorrow.
I'm going to be prepping for Lithuania.
Yep.
And watching the
Moto
X Games. There you go. You as a coach, you're going to be watching film of this bad boy right here, aren't you?
I'm going to watch the replay in its entirety. I'm going to break down every inbounds play, every half-court set.
So what do you think, Coach K? Give me 2 things that he will like from this game and 2 things that he will not like from this game.
Well, he'll definitely like the unselfishness and the ability to score in transition. That's not an issue at all. But what he'll point out is that we've got to get better defensively. There were breakdowns. Open shots that are missed against a team like Turkey, you can't take that chance that they're going to be missed against somebody like Spain or Greece or even Russia, some of the teams they'll see.
Erden over the back. Carlos Boozer draws that foul.
By the way, my guy Simon Guler is in, and the reason that's important is because the people at Carroll College in Helena, Montana are doing handstands right now, where he played his college ball and took them to an NAIA Final Four, now playing for Efes Pilsen this year.
Moving up in the world.
Yep.
Efes Pilsen, one of the heavyweights in the EuroLeague. And last year in ULIP Cup play, Guler went 23 of 36 from three-point range. The dude can drill it.
And it's interesting. His dad was the point guard on the Turkish national team in the past, so he's got a rich basketball background. I'm surprised we haven't seen Engin Atsor tonight, the young man who played at NC State. But he played against Chris Paul for 2 years
and got torched.
Yeah, but
by CP3.
But a very good player. Had a terrific 4-year career for both Herb Sendek and Sidney Lowe. Pick and roll defense once again. That ability of Erden to get loose and roll down the lane.
Boozer went behind the back. Paul into the corner for Williams. And he goes baseline, and he just gingerly lays it in.
Williams, with that size and strength for a point guard, really comes in handy in international play. We saw that against Canada. His strength and quickness to get to the rim will be a factor. In fact, we haven't seen much of Jay Kidd in this second half.
Similar to the Canada game.
Yep.
Saw him a lot in the first quarter, and it was kind of Paul and Williams from there. That was Zach Yall, and this is Dwight Howard.
And that's why I think what you'll see out of Jay Kidd is great leadership, but you see a much more mature Chris Paul than you did back in 2006. And also now, this is Darren Williams' second year with Team USA. so he understands FIBA play better in the second year.
And the Kevin Garnett rule in play here in Macau. Did I say McHale?
Garnett.
I meant Garnett, and I said Garnett. Garnett, of course, won gold with the U.S. back in 2000, and as you know from watching him, he doesn't, even if it's after the whistle, he will take that ball and get it out of there. And Arslan was looking for an after-the-whistle teardrop, and Dwight Howard said, Rebound to Michael Redd. Darren Williams, always on the balls of his feet, isn't he? It's like his heels never touch the floor. Howard, the extra pass, and Carlos Boozer sends it down and gives the rim a little something.
That was a good, solid half-court play. Williams pulled it out. There wasn't a lot of ball movement, but just his ability to get into the lane, drop it down to Howard. Howard finding Boozer. Just good teamwork right there.
C.Bosh working against Howard, and that didn't work out for C.Bosh. Here's Guler from the baseline. Left-handed shot wouldn't go, out of bounds to the United States. Just 2:16 to go in this basketball game.
You know, one of the things we've heard so much going back to 2006, and the average fan wants to know, why the big deal with pick-and-roll defense? And it's mainly because, Rick, it's the hardest play in basketball to guard. When you have a situation with a really good point guard and a big guy that is mobile, that can shoot the ball, roll to the rim, at the point of the screen, there's an indecision that takes place on the part of the defense that can really be tricky, and that's why it's really the most effective play in the NBA. It's something that's a concern of all teams and not just Team USA.
P.J. Carlissimo is the head coach of the select team that practiced against the senior national team in Las Vegas before they came over here to China, and he was giving direct orders from Coach K to diagram, you know, several pick-and-roll offenses and then run them consistently against this national team. And an interesting coaching philosophy, but one that they need to capitalize on.
Very much so. In fact, you know, we got a chance to watch a couple practices last week, and and you know, they called out plays like Greece, Argentina, and you got guys like we mentioned, Rodney Stuckey, LaMarcus Aldridge, really talented young players, Derrick Rose, who were able to try to simulate the kind of style of play that they will see in the Olympics. And by the way, they had great help from Jay Triano, the assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors, who's got a lot of international experience.
Paul from the top of the key, he beats the shot clock, and he just keeps beating up Turkey with another 3-ball.
How good does he become when he continues to make that jump shot?
He has 12 points in this game, and to answer your question, because I wasn't blowing you off because you're my guy, if he becomes a 40% three-point shooter, which I think could happen as early as this upcoming season, he's probably the 4th best player in the league. And I can't put him above Kobe, LeBron, or Wade. I think those guys are at a different level right now, but I think Paul is the 4th best behind those 3.
Well, and the MVP voting this year sort of speaks to that as he finishes runner-up to Kobe.
Dwight Howard, by the way, finished 5th in MVP voting and earned every one of those votes.
I mentioned the LeBron James Skills Academy. Chris Paul, there's another pick and roll.
Boozer can't get it to go.
Chris spent a lot of time with the college guards, guys like Johnny Flynn of Syracuse, Kalen Lucas of Michigan State, Patrick Beverly, really schooling them on the art of the pick and roll. And not a better teacher to have than Chris Paul, unless you're Steve Nash.
ESPN's presentation of USA Basketball, brought to you by Sprite with Lyman and Chevy, an American Revolution.
The Americans have won the gold medal.
Standing up there, I'm hearing the national anthem play.
With a gold medal around your neck.
I just remember standing there thinking, I don't want this moment to end.
I mean, there really isn't anything like it.
I was really living out exactly what I had dreamed.
I remember my coach yelling to me, Olympic champion.
Michael Phelps, swimming.
Alham, gymnastics.
Laura Wilkinson, diving. My coach just kept saying, we did it, we did it. Oh, we did it, the big it.
I love you. No, don't do it. He's your brother.
Rutabaga. Rutabaga!
To carrot?
Oh, come on!
Don't you dare go in that basement.
After years of trying to interact with your TV,
What did I
just say?
It's time your TV responded. With Searchlight, it can.
Looking for a car? Go to Searchlight Channel 889, then Pre-Owned Autos, to search local vehicles by price, model, or dealer.
Need an auto? Need the financing? Get them both now.
Call 1-877-933-6060.
Exclusively in your market for the financing of cars, trucks, and SUVs. $12 million will be allocated to those with bad credit, no credit bankruptcy, foreclosure, repossession, and charge-offs.
Call 1-877-933-6060.
Your credit does not determine your approval guarantee or will give you $100.
Call 1-877-933-6060.
Call right now. Don't wait until tomorrow. When these funds are gone, they're gone.
We're almost done in Macau, but we're not done yet. It's time for the Sprite play of the game.
Not bad. Started out as an innocuous break by D.Wade. Turned it into a highlight.
And what a highlight it was. It was the Sprite play of the game. And he has had, Fran, the Sprite play of the game in both games. Because his windmill mash in Las Vegas, I still can't believe what I saw.
Well, and keep in mind, too, coming off the injury-plagued season, the new coach in Miami, Eric Spoelstra, ready to take over for Pat Riley. He's got Michael Beasley to work with. The number 2 pick in the draft, Dwayne Wade, Sean Marion.
The problem with Miami, this is a major tangent right here at the end of the game, but at the 1 and the 5, the 2 most important positions in basketball, pretty much vacated at this point. And I say that with apologies to the guys on that roster, but they need better players at those positions. 10 on the shot clock for Michael Redd, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Umit Sungal. And here is Guler missing the 3, and maybe a chance for one more highlight for the U.S. Paul trying to thread the needle of Boozer, and it was picked off by Guler. He's a party pooper. Guler.
I'm not a big fan of this down the stretch. Now, if you want to put your pessimist hat on, you can say Turkey scored 82 points. Transition has been terrific. A lot of good things by Team USA, but there will be plenty to watch on this tape, particularly on the defensive end, as they continue to build, and they've got 3 more games with which to get ready before they head to Beijing.
So the United States, they're going to dribble it out. This is the first of 2 in Macau, and exhibitions 4 and 5 will be in Shanghai before the Beijing Olympics. The United States put up a number on Turkey, 114. They give up 82, and LeBron James returned to the court after that sprained ankle was triumphant, and it was emphatic. Fran and I back to wrap up our coverage in just a moment.
While filming a movie, 3 of Hollywood's biggest stars were kidnapped.
Were there some rewrites?
Now they'll have to stop acting and start fighting back.
Those dudes was trained soldiers.
Yeah. And we trained actors.
Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr.
Damn.
Tropic Thunder.
Somebody close to you said, one more flop, it's over.
Somebody said they were close to me?
August 13th, rated R.
When you're the greatest golfer on earth, what's next? New Gatorade Made Tiger with 25% more electrolytes. It's in Tiger Woods. Is it in you?
Welcome back to Macau. We're here to wrap up this bad boy. 114-82. The United States defeats Turkey. And a look at our leading scorers of the game for the United States. LeBron James in his return from that ankle injury, 20 points. Anthony 17 and Howard 15.
On a given night, it could be any one of 7 or 8 guys. Dwight Howard, we mentioned, gets it done inside. LeBron James, no ill effects from the ankle sprain. And D.Wade, Chris Paul chipping in with a dozen each. So balanced scoring the way you expect from a team with this many weapons.
LeBron looked just fine, and Wade looked awesome again. And a look at the rest of the exhibition schedule. Obviously, the U.S. 2-0. Lithuania coming up 8 a.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow, August 3rd, it's Russia at 3 a.m. Eastern. And August 5th, the United States wraps up its exhibition schedule against Australia, 8 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. Coming up next, Mike and Mike in the morning. And we will have U.S. against Lithuania tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern from Macau. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Rick Kamla. We will see you soon.
This summer, the World Series of Poker is all new. Watch the game's brightest stars and biggest dreamers every Tuesday night as they battle for the highest stakes and the most coveted jewel in the game.
The thing is, make yourself at home.
Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming.
That chili is not sitting well.
Excuse me, A1 on a burger?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Could I borrow that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Imagine that, times a zillion.
The Brett Favre hostage crisis. Day 24.
All right, Mike.